Throughout the year, there are vehicles that really impress me, but sometimes you kind of expect them to have the styling, technology, and performance for their classes. But then you have that one vehicle that throws a curveball at you that you weren't expecting to really enjoy and like. And that's the 2025 and 2026 Nissan Kicks. Believe it or not, this vehicle is affordable, but also from last generation, it has grown up. It has become more capable, more competent. Also, the long list of features makes this one heck of a value in the subcompact crossover market. And because of all of this, the Nissan Kicks is well on its way to its best year of sales ever in the US. In today's video, we're going to go over the pros and cons that makes up the Nissan Kicks for this model year, check out why it's on my list of nominees for Car of the Year, and also see the cons that could hurt this vehicle in the long run, or really some things that Nissan can improve on for upcoming model years. Now, before I dive into this video, I want to give a huge shout and thank you to Peters Nissan up here in Nashua, New Hampshire for letting come down here to check out the Nissan Kicks. Their link will be in the description below, so you can check out their extensive Nissan inventory. So let's begin with the pros here for this Nissan Kicks, why it's so important to the brand, and also why it's so much more competitive now in its class than ever before. It all starts off with the fact that, for one, it's no longer a lifted hatchback. It is now a true subcompact crossover. It's 3 inches longer, it's marginally wider and taller than last generation, but it gets even deeper than that. So when you take a look at the pricing, it comes in between $23,000 and $32,000, give or take if you go with all-wheel drive and optional packages. So it's economical, it's affordable, but it gets even better than that. So when you take a look at the ground clearance, you're going to have 8.4 inches, which is far and away better than what you had last generation. But then you pair this with all-wheel drive. So now you have all-wheel drive out of the subcompact crossover, and you can compare and contrast this to a Subaru Crosstrek, a Honda HR-V, a Toyota Corolla Cross, but with that ground clearance, it's only 0.3 of an inch off what you're going to find out of that Subaru Crosstrek. So one of the more capable options here in this class. Now, when you take a look at the dimensions, it has grown a bit by about 3 inches in length, marginally taller and wider than ever before, and that will help out with the overall practicality. So taking a look at that cargo space, unfortunately with the SR, you're not going to receive a power liftgate. Would like to see that in future model years. But countering that, behind the second row seats, you're looking at right around 30 cubic feet of room. That is right, 30 cubic feet. That would be on par with some compact crossovers. I don't even need to give you a list of the vehicles that the Nissan Kicks outclasses. This would be better than a Honda HR-V, Subaru Crosstrek, even a Toyota Corolla Cross, and Mazda CX-30. So when you factor all of this into the equation, maybe you're spending $25,000, $26,000 for an SV, you're going to have a vehicle that's very well-rounded, versatile, practical, and also capable as well with the all-wheel drive and ground clearance. But it gets even better, because when you lower the second row seats, now you have 60 cubic feet of room. This is a substantial improvement over last generation. This is not a hatchback. This is a true crossover now. On top of this too, you're going to have some side pockets here on both sides of the cargo area for some smaller items, maybe a couple water bottles, car detail equipment, or maybe even a first aid kit. It's this right here that helps out this vehicle in my Car of the Year category, because not only are you taking a look at that affordability, it's also exceptionally practical. Then making our way inside to the second row, because this is part of the practicality and friendliness for this subcompact crossover, you're looking at right around 34.5 inches of legroom, which isn't the best in this market, but falls right in line with a Subaru Crosstrek, with a Mazda CX-30. But better yet, you have a higher roofline than a lot of competitors in this market, so tall passengers should be able to sit back here relatively comfortably. Obviously, you're not going to have two center-mounted air vents on the center console here for the second row. We rarely see that in this class, but you will have two USB-C outlets to charge up your smartphones. Warping back outside is going to be the glow up that we've experienced here for this second generation. Nissan gave this crossover the full package. It has the capability, has the ground clearance, has the practicality. It also has the sleek looks as well. With the aggressive body lines on the hood, we have the LED headlights here for better visibility at night or in adverse weather conditions. Some gloss black trim here for the front grille. We have the SR badge. In some ways, this kind of looks like an indirect replacement for the Nissan Juke. If only we had a better engine under the hood. We'll talk about that in a minute. Now, you are going to have some cladding here underneath the grille and for the lower portion of the front bumper, with this model having 8.4 inches of ground clearance and all-wheel drive being optional. This might actually be useful if you are taking on snow-covered roadways or taking on some light trails. What I really love here, though, is these 19-inch alloy wheels that come on the SR. What a great wheel package this is for a subcompact that wouldn't be seen as sporty or as performance-oriented. That's a really nice touch. A lot of manufacturers for a smaller vehicle like this wouldn't give you that type of detail. Now, since we have the SR2, we also have gloss black side mirror caps with turn signal indicators to go along with blind spot detection for added safety. Some more cladding along the side profile, deflecting that road salt and debris. And then making our way around to the back here, I love the design. I love this sportier look that, of course, is going to be Juke inspired. Nissan really nailed it with the design here. I think this is a good subcompact crossover, a good looking subcompact crossover, I should say. I love the light design that carries over from the center portion of the tailgate into your final third of the Nissan Kicks. Also, more of a sloping roofline, so it's not a refrigerator on wheels. Nissan has learned from their past mistakes here. Also, of course, we have the cladding once again, giving us some symmetry to the overall appearance of this vehicle that carries all the way through. And then what I like, though, is we have color matching accents here for the rear diffuser. That's really nice. And then you have that visible exhaust outlet tying everything together here for the Nissan Kicks. I have to be honest, what we've experienced so far, at least for the exterior and just taking a look at what this model has been offering us all year, this is one really impressive subcompact crossover. Then hopping inside the Nissan Kicks, you have a very impressive driving environment that you wouldn't necessarily expect here for a vehicle coming in under $40,000. Now, I was going to primarily focus on the technology because this is a huge upgrade over last generation, but it's the fit and finish, at least on the higher end here with the SR we have today, that really does impress me, because you're not only going to get this full digital gauge cluster and nice infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and a wireless phone charging pad, you're also going to have soft touch materials on the dashboard, on the door panels, on the center console. This is a vehicle that comes in below $35,000. You also have some fake carbon fiber weave, but I'm okay with that because it's padded here. So, and again, this is not a Nissan GTR or Nissan Z, so I can kind of live with some of these younger aesthetics or youthful aesthetics because you're getting a vehicle that has the fit and finish of a crossover coming in at around $40,000. And especially in today's automotive industry, a lot of manufacturers do cut those corners. Now, our model does have some optional packages giving us heated front seats and a heated steering wheel. So on a very cold day like today, I'm going to be nice and warm. This steering wheel feels really nice in the hands. Aggressive 10-2 and firm 9-3 grips. Also has a nice premium feel as well. With that full digital gauge cluster, it's customizable. It's very similar to what you are going to find out of a Nissan Rogue, out of a Nissan Murano, out of a Nissan Pathfinder. I love that. Some manufacturers in this class give you cheaper digital gauge clusters, or in some cases, they don't even give you a digital gauge cluster. So this is actually really good stuff here. Then as you take a look at the infotainment system, I love the resolution and quality. Again, a huge upgrade over last generation. Now, yes, you will be reaching for this screen, but there will be quick access icons on the left side to get you different menus efficiently. Also, you will have actual buttons here, another haptic feedback, but on the dashboard, you'll be able to turn on your heated seats, your climate control, your AC, front and rear defrosters, fan speed, fan direction. You also have a physical dial on the dashboard itself, and you can easily access your camera systems as well. And you will have the tuning buttons too. So it's tactile. It's somewhat tactile. The way in which Nissan designed this vehicle, I actually have to say I'm pretty impressed coming back to this, even though this was already on my list of considerations for Car of the Year. Then as you make your way to the center console, you are going to have your wireless phone charging pad, 2 USB-C inputs. We have electronic parking brake, auto vehicle hold, also, of course, your drive mode selector for Sport, Standard, Eco, and Snow. So you can have some fun here, even though we'll talk about that performance in a bit. Also, a traditional gear shifter. And what I like, too, when you take a look at the center console, you have contrasting stitching. It's the smaller details that Nissan did focus on here with the Kicks. You have a very deep storage compartment for your 2 cup holders. And then for the center storage compartment itself, it's somewhat small, but you can probably fit a smartphone, wallet, or other smaller tech gadgets. Also, getting to these seats, since we have the optional packages, we have the Bose audio system and speakers in the headrest. Now, we saw that last generation, but the way in which this model has been designed, re-engineered, the way it looks, this feels a bit more grown up. Now, easing into the cons here for the 2025 and 2026 Nissan Kicks, it begins with the Pro. So you have to hear me out on this one. So powering the Nissan Kicks for these model years is going to be a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, producing 141 horsepower and 140 pound-feet of torque. It is paired with the CVT. Now between $23,000 and $30,000, this would fall right in line with a Kia Seltos, a Hyundai Kona, back in the day, a couple of years ago, maybe a base model Subaru Crosstrek. Now these numbers are perfectly fine for the price point at around 25 grand. When you get to around 30, 33,000, especially on the higher end with the SR, that's where we might need a more powerful engine to be more competitive. But that would be the only thing I would say here out of the Nissan Kicks when it comes to its performance, because I do think it drives better than last generation. It handles better, it's more comfortable, it feels far more refined. But we definitely need another powertrain here, whether it is a hybrid or a turbo. Believe me, if we had a turbo, this would be a really cool subcompact crossover. But for a lot of you looking for an affordable daily driver and subcompact in this class, the 2-liter might be more than adequate. And then the last con here for the Nissan Kicks is going to be the fact that there's some room for growth, that there's some potential here, and also Nissan could age up this model just a bit more. And what do I mean by all of this? It's going to be the contrasting stitching on the dashboard, on the center console, the orange accents that are found throughout with the SR, and the orange accents on the seats themselves. These are things that some older buyers might not like. These are also things that some people who are looking at buying a Subaru Crosstrek, maybe a Toyota Corolla Cross, Honda HR-V, might feel like, this is a bit more of a younger vehicle. In some ways, I could see Nissan dropping in leather trim seats if they really wanted to. They could go with a higher trim if they were bold enough to do it, especially at this price point, what this vehicle is offering at around $33,000 on the higher end. Because you could go one step further at around 35 or 36, drop in a hybrid powertrain, drop in a turbo, give us leather trim seats, and you would have a vehicle that would be extremely competitive in this market when you pair all of this with the 8.4 inches of ground clearance, the all-wheel drive system, the design and size of this vehicle more importantly. I like the fact this crossover has some room for growth, because some vehicles come out, they're the way they are, that's the way they're going to be for 5-10 years. For the Nissan Kicks, this is one step in the right direction, but I think there's a few more steps that Nissan has to take in the future with this vehicle moving forward, especially in this very competitive class. So guys, let me know what you think about the Nissan Kicks and its nomination for Car of the Year for the Boston Auto Blog Car of the Year Award. Let me know what you think. Does this vehicle deserve to be on this list? Do you like the Nissan Kicks for the second generation? Let me know in the comment section below. But guys, once again, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you guys next time.